here with my buddy Aaron Vasquez, who's building a brokerage out of Arizona. Very similar to myself. He's got some resources behind him, but it's on him, day in, day out to figure out how to drive business, make things happen. So Aaron, yeah, thanks for coming on, bud. Appreciate it.
Oh, thanks for having me, Brett.
Yeah, absolutely.
Appreciate it.
So we're going to try to switch to our little gallery view we usually do. There we go. Now back to usual. But yeah, so I thought it'd be fun to hop on, let you know about my own kind of baby brokerage, what's worked, what hasn't worked, kind of where I find myself, 6 months after deciding to do my own thing. And then maybe we can just check in, see what you've been doing, what you want to try to do. For me, the recent realization is I wanted to do more commercial because I found it more interesting and I see the upside. But my only real work experience in insurance has been personal lines. So I think I got to walk backwards and do the personal for a while, build that book up. And then once that's got a head of steam, flip back over and try to do commercial. But how long have you been doing your own thing? What's the company you're working through? Kind of all that good stuff. Yeah.
Well, I've been slowly building things up on the side for about 2 months now.
Cool.
It's really been a large part of the technical hurdles. So building a website, getting some type of social presence established, finding out that it's not as easy as just, start a Facebook page and the business comes. That Field of Dreams idea is got to build the full stadium. You got to get the stands, you got to get the concessions, you got to get everything out there before people really start showing up.
Guilty as well. I thought build a cool looking website, traffic would just kind of happen.
Yeah. So I've been in the industry now about 8 years dealing with insurance and helping people out with, what insurance means. The way I actually got into the industry was through insurance compliance. So, a lot of our commercial vendors or our commercial clients that are looking to do big projects that require certificates of insurance. Unfortunately, a lot of times I was telling them, hey, your personal auto policy is not going to satisfy that commercial auto million limit. And then we get a call from an agent saying, hey, how come you're telling them they don't have insurance? And I'm just thinking to myself, I can't do this anymore.
Bro, this is your job. You set them up right.
So I got licensed and I made the shift into becoming an agent so that I could help people out.
Cool.
Found out quickly under a captive market that wasn't where I wanted to be in the long run. And it was a great learning lesson, for lack of better words, but really, an opportunity to get hands-on and find out really how diverse and dynamic this industry is, because some people specialize in just one thing and that's awesome. But what I got into it for was those mom and pop shops. I got into it but to help them out with not just their business needs, their everyday needs, but the backstory on me also is I'm the youngest child of 9 in a blended family. And my dad died when I was born. So there's a number of things that now on the insurance agent side, I ask the questions and find out that life insurance wasn't in place. Most of my family and friends have the California state minimums or Arizona state minimums.
Sorry, it kind of broke up a little right there. But yeah, I hear you. Just want to make sure people are properly covered, So it's like, could kind of hear me all right? Just checking. Cool. Yeah, no, I definitely understand. You want to make sure people are properly covered. Like having bad insurance in place almost seems worse than having no insurance. I mean, or about the same. Those minimums, especially in Southern California, what is it, 15, 30, 10? Like you're not going to cover a bumper for $10,000 anymore. So.
Oh yeah, and today's cars are totaled with all the sensors and technology on them.
Everyone's mad their auto insurance is going up, but everything in the cars get more and more expensive.
Oh, and then it's gonna take a turn also. I mean, there's insurance score verifications, not something that goes on in California, and it affects a lot of people in other states. So yeah, it's an interesting industry, and it's awesome to be part of it.
Yeah, heck yeah. So the company you're working with, they're giving you kind of access to their agency management system. They have plenty of lines of business you can write. You feel like you have good I'll call it more cost competitive carriers. You have middle market carriers. You have higher end stuff too, or feel like you're in a good spot in terms of like hunting tools? Yeah.
Yeah, there's no shortage of carriers.
Cool.
Right now, I'm finding out the appointments that
Yep.
usually takes a few more weeks than expected. When they say
Yeah.
2 to 3 weeks, be 6 to 8. So you're finding out that things start trickling in. But I think we're at about 30 carriers right now,
Cool.
climbing up to about 50, and throughout the
Yeah.
other brokerages and stuff like that too.
And then if you have the deal flow, they'll figure it out. So if you have the business,
Yep.
there's a company called Risk Review, a good friend of mine. I'll send it to you afterwards. It's like $100 a year, but he has a lot of really good forms for all the details for like home, car, whatever. So even if you might not have direct carrier access yet, you can at least do the fact finder and then kind of chase those guys down. Say, I got this business that
Awesome.
want to buy a policy. Let's get it together for them. But so any kind of little tricklings of success so far? And I'm still learning too. I'm still trying to figure out my deal flow. But anything going well? Anything you thought would go well that hasn't clicked yet, or how's that?
I have to say, honestly, I'm blown away by social media.
Yeah.
When I got on there at the beginning of the year, more just to get reconnected with
Mhm.
people, it quickly turned into like, all right, I've been making music for 10 years now,
Yeah.
and I got stuff that's good that, in my opinion, and when other people hear it, they're like, wow, that is good. So I'm just
Yeah.
thinking like, all right, got to get it out, got to just
Right.
let it go. So I made a page for that, realizing like, all right, this is a learning lesson in the
Hmm.
Facebook business pages that, when I started doing stuff for the agency, I already had that understanding and realizing
Hmm.
like, man, there's all these groups, there's all these other places to go.
Yep.
And yeah, there's been a success with a referral that came through from a guy in Florida. Very
Cool.
grateful for it. I was able to help out his brother out in California.
Yeah.
And it's just one of those things that, of course, everybody's throwing their hand up saying, yeah, I could help. And you're just
Cool.
thinking like, so can everybody else. But the important thing is the client got what they needed when they needed it.
Hmm.
They got through the hoops to it's a commercial business, so they were able to get
Oh,
their
cool.
keys in hand.
Yeah.
And right now we're just moving forward. They're getting ready to open doors in the next 2 weeks or so.
That's
So it's a
cool.
lot of little excitement.
Yeah, and then you got the commercial, bug them about their personal, see if they're going to offer benefits, and just round up those
Yep.
accounts. No, it's
Yep.
really cool. Any niches or verticals kind of seeming like they're going to be your meat and potatoes yet, or still kind of feeling how? Obviously, trying to make sense of the noise. Like I've had maybe a dozen deals come through like 8 different channels, and there's like just no pattern to it yet. So I got to figure out what I need to double down on. Yeah.
So let me ask you this then: are you purchasing leads, or is it just kind of making those relationships with based on the risk review information?
Yeah, so I've been in sales for 10 years. 6 years of that was commercial, relocations. Been on LinkedIn forever, have a good social media presence. So really trying to lean into that. I've always cold called. So, when I first started, I just knocked doors in the agency, in the neighborhood for the agency. That got me a few small opportunities. I got the book of lists, which is something we have out of Orange County, so it's the top 10 businesses of everything or top 20 businesses of everything. Called some
Awesome.
hospitals about cyber insurance. Um, a friend had an old list that they were marketing to, so I've been calling that through his agency to work on it. But really just getting a hold
Awesome.
of whatever chunks of data I could. And then I run a meetup group, which I'm really lagging on post to the next hangout in a couple of weeks, but called Broker Brews, and those friends have delivered a couple leads. And then, I grew up in the same neighborhood, most of my life, and I got 2 brothers, so we know a lot of people. And it's, that's delivered a couple leads, but it's really been just a smattering of things. And I think I might just try to go old school, start leading in on just homeowners insurance. It's a good product, get
Hey,
some of the car from there. Yeah.
and really the best part is, again, you meet their immediate needs,
Yep.
you deliver that service, they're comfortable,
Hmm.
and then when they ask the question of, hey, I just got this new car, and you're
Yep.
going, great, send me the details, or
Yeah.
just what's the VIN?
Yeah. And I haven't done the leads thing. I've actually worked leads at insurance brokerage, and I actually worked at a leads company for 6 months. And I think it can be done, but I feel like you need a war chest and you need the proper infrastructure in place, you need the proper program. And without all that, you can do leads, but you have to do them well and you have to really grind them. And I just don't know like I'm willing to work hard, but I don't know if I have the systems in place right now to really do that. Because it's like chasing 100 opportunities where I feel like we do it more organically. There may be 10, but you can deliver on 3 to
Yeah.
7 of them. You know. Sorry, trying not to sneeze.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, so I'm kind of going the more organic route for now. You know, don't get me wrong. Look,
I
later,
feel the same way.
yeah, yeah. Later we'll build up agencies. We'll have the war chest. We'll hire people. We'll, yeah, have those boiler rooms for the leads. But for right now, I think it's more about delivering. I call them like hubs. So if you have like a spoke, I want to find that person that could send me to a few things rather than going after an
Yeah.
individual deal. You know, so trying to work that out.
So, um, have you looked into like other chamber of commerce or just meeting
No,
up with other meetups and all that other stuff? Yeah,
I
awesome.
haven't been as
I
active as I should be, but I've been the Newport Beach Chamber of Commerce. It's been good. Are you doing a
I just went
chamber?
to a what's that?
Oh, sorry. So you're working in a chamber, or you're going to a chamber, or participating in one?
Yeah, yeah. Just went to actually 2 mixers in the past
Cool.
week. There was one last Friday where, so trying to actually make friends with the realtors
Yeah,
and the loan
exactly.
officers,
Yeah,
and just trying not to again be that guy who's saying like, "Hey, give me the business because I can
yeah.
turn it around quickly." But
I
what
think it's
ended up
okay.
happening is
Yeah,
I sent out a I was doing cold calls.
yep,
You heard you mention cold calls,
yep.
and I
Of
actually got
course.
told by a guy like, "Cold call's dead." I'm just thinking
Now,
like, no.
yeah,
But the approach to it really is to learn information, not just to jump in and saying, "Give me
mhm,
your business." But what ended up happening is I sent out cold follow-up emails,
yep,
and one of the groups responded saying, "Hey, we're doing a mixer. Come on
yep,
by, be our guest, meet everybody." And that right there has been awesome because you're
yeah,
finding uh, there's a nonprofit that needs funding.
yep,
So I know these 2 people through 2 different groups, and if I
yep,
can put them together, awesome, things are going to work out. I can help them both out in their businesses as
yep.
well as far as insurance. But
Yeah, yeah. Just being useful, being in the neighborhood. I think those networking groups are great, and you can do both. I think you can be somewhat brash and say, "Hey, like I can help you out with this. Send me the business," while also sharing knowledge and saying, "Hey, if you just need a quote, someone's gonna buy a home and they're curious about what the insurance costs are gonna be, I can run that as well." Because you do have to ask for the order, and you do have to try to get the attention. It's a long time, but not trying to pretend you're doing something you're not. Just, hey, this is I'm here. This is how I make a living. This is the value that I offer. Be happy to do
yeah,
that for your clients. Yeah.
yeah, and one of the bigger things too is so you meet their immediate need when it comes to uh, the leads or whatever it is. The organic growth, definitely, I agree, is the best way to go.
Yeah.
Um, and things will just trickle down as they fall in place.
Yeah, it's hard. There's no magic bullet, and you have to. Uh, it's like almost like you need a little bit of ignorance to sort of hop off the shore. Like you need to push off. Like you need to believe it's going to work, and then once you get going, it's going to be choppy, and it's just maintaining course. And just being creative and figuring out where your niche is going to be. I would lean in on the music thing though too, and see if you have any commercial products or maybe some event products, and see if around that whole network you can kind of start insuring it. My wife was a Taking Back Sunday fan, so we're at a show on Thursday night up in LA, and I was just thinking with like 10 bars, couple thousand people, the band. I was like, there's got to be a big event policy in place. Like I don't know what they're paying
Oh
for that
yeah.
specific night, but I wouldn't be surprised if it was in the thousands of dollars, literally just for one night of coverage. So
I actually was at a local carnival that was free
yeah,
to
yeah,
attend. So I was walking through thinking the same thing, like, all right, this one vendor is providing all these rides and all
mhm,
the employees and all this stuff. So you mentioned earlier about wanting to do commercial,
uh-huh,
and of course, I'm sure you also heard about like reverse engineering things. And if we start with that goal of, let's say, this carnival, for example,
yeah,
or the venue there, and then you start looking at like how many vendors do they really have? Well, those guys have to have their own insurance in
yep,
place,
good point.
have to
Yeah,
provide that, and then it's incredible to find out like, all right, I understand this part of it. Now,
yeah,
how do I approach it as the consumer perspective and be able to tap into just letting them know, look, insurance is boring, insurance is complicated, insurance is really not sexy at all. So let's get back to the rock and roll here. So
yeah,
let's just, here's the details, fill out the app, and we'll keep going forward.
Yeah, no, totally. I think it's that brass tacks. I think all successful small business owners, people who really get up to a certain level, usually get pretty to the point. You know, they don't have time to dance around, and they want to trust people can handle a job, and they, you know, say, hey, let me be that guy. We'll get back to what we love. But yeah, man, I'll lean in on the music thing a little bit too, because I think you can even insure equipment and stuff over a certain value for the bands themselves, and you could have your, you know, your personal and your passion combined in that, you know. So, yeah, it's fun. I think that's what you're looking for, kind of those, like, you know, those synergies where like who you are as a person meets what you do professionally. And I think of insurance as kind of this, it's almost neutral. You know, it's not sexy, it's not unsexy. It's this thing that's a part of all the stuff, and you want to be the guy who provides it. You know, it helps keep the sexy stuff keep going. You know, it helps keep the music still happening. You know, like, it's really cool. You know, it's this random thing that I never would have thought of been involved in, but I'm really happy I stumbled into. You know, how'd you get into the sort of the risk compliance category? How'd you get into that end of the business?
So that came out of a transfer from working hotels and
Oh, wow.
restaurants.
Yeah.
So, you know, nights, weekends, holidays, 365 days a year, you're
Yep.
going to have a shift. So
Yeah.
after working in that industry for a couple of years, realizing like, all right, the money's not really here. There's my time that's more valuable, and I'd rather
Yeah.
work on, you know, actually enjoying myself. So looked for an office job, landed that one,
Yep.
just went in there really green, not really sure what to expect, but loved the fact that it was Monday through Friday, and then realized too that after a few years and that, you know, there's money out there, but
Mhm.
there's also a better service I could do for people. So
Yeah. So good opportunity, and you're seeing kind of gaps in how the people were providing the service. You're seeing the agents. You weren't like too impressed with the competition, and you're like, all right, I'll hop in there, I'll play a hand. You know, that's cool.
I have to say there was a few agents though that really wowed me,
Yeah.
because when
Perfect.
they would step it up and go above and beyond, and I'm just thinking like, awesome, you helped me get my job done easier,
Yeah.
and I helped you get your job done easier. Now we both understand what's needed, and they're telling me flat out, we got to add 30 additional insureds to this
Yeah.
one policy. Do you know what that means? And I'm just, no.
Yeah.
That means it's going to cost them XYZ, and they want the job, so they're going to pay for it.
Yeah.
Thank you for helping me take care of my customer, as well as, you know, provide more income for my family, because that's bread and butter right there. And I'm
Oh
just
yeah.
thinking like, wow, awesome. I never would have thought about it that way, but thanks for sharing that with me, because I think since then, a lot of commercial clients or commercial carriers realize blanket additional insured is kind of the way to go about it
Oh
then,
yeah.
because you get into its successors, subsidiaries, all that other stuff, and it's just too many people to really pinpoint.
And I would reach back out because it sounds like you're working with some successful sharp agents, and they're from your neighborhood too. It's a really giving industry. I heard from one guy, because no one's going to get rich off one policy, you know. So kind of open the conversation a little bit more than like maybe if it was construction firms competing or something. But I'd reach out to those guys, say, hey, like I just started, you know, working through this brokerage. We have a great setup. Just thought, see if I could bend your ear, get any advice. You know, what groups were helpful for you, especially if they're like regional but not too close. Like if they're in another city but the same state, you know, I think they'll definitely help you out and say, hey, like I'm loving the industry so far. I want to take care of people. I think you'll get some good local advice for sure. So, I don't know if you remember any of the agents who are really good, but yeah, could be a way to figure it out. So, but yeah, so far, yeah, cold calling, knocking doors, marketing on LinkedIn, trying to find some niches, realizing it's a job. I can't work on necessarily what I want to work on, but I need to work on what I know, and that's backtracking to personal lines for me. I always joke that like it's not going so well. I'm like, oh, I haven't figured it out, and it's not so low. And I'm like, what am I doing? It's like right in that middle ground of, okay, there's enough here to keep moving forward, but got to figure out what to double down on. You know, I don't know
It's
if any.
funny that you say that.
Yeah,
When I was at that networking group, they were actually, one girl went ahead and presented something. I'm just going to draw it out real quick.
yeah,
But
definitely.
So I don't know if you could see that very well.
Oh, there you go. Perfect. Yeah. The dip. Cool.
Yeah. So when we start off up here, we're very naive. We're very like, I could do this. This is awesome. And then we kind of jump into it. Oh, sorry, I'm on the wrong end.
No,
We're
but it
naive
works. I
over
mean,
here.
yeah.
And then we get in there and we realize, oh man, this is a little harder than I thought.
Yep.
This isn't really working out. We're at the bottom, just about ready to quit.
Yep.
But when we persevere, we peak up just right above it, and then of course we come back out on success.
Yes,
Some
sir.
people, that's a week-long cycle. Some people that's a 6-month cycle. Some people that's a year-long,
Yep.
and so on and so forth. You get out of it what you put into it.
And I wouldn't pretend to have any success that I haven't yet. Like I've been able to land some policies, been able to deliver. I got lucky. I ended up pairing up with a buddy who has a good benefit shop but needed help with P&C. So now I'm helping him out with property casualty while still working on my own shop as well. And it's an additional income stream. It's additional, reps and opportunities. So it's not always, the most obvious way that it's going to work, and you're not going to get to the other side of the shore exactly how you thought you would when you kind of took off, So just as an example of figuring it out and staying open and seeing opportunities, So I don't know what that looks like, but for whatever it's worth, that's been part of the story, Yeah.
Well, you gotta. I mean, you gotta try everything. They say, what is it? A goal without a plan is just a dream.
Yeah.
So I'll be honest, I don't have this well-written marketing plan, this illustrated target market or anything like that. I know who I am, and I know those are the people I'm trying to take care of.
Yeah.
But when it comes to a matter of saying like, all right, I want to have XYZ policies or premium, there's not a certain thing like that. What I do know though is, sorry, I'm just lost train of thought there.
No, you're good. We're hashing it out. We're building the target concept ideas. Yeah.
So,
I'm sorry.
go ahead.
I think for me it's 20-25 like marketing reps a day, with the goal of maybe 3 little policies a week, but try to have like 20-25 touch points, whether it's knocking the door, making a phone call, not even consider like a well thought out LinkedIn post or Facebook post, but yeah, it's just 20-25 potential business development touch points a day while still nurturing the current business that I have going on, and like managing the policy flow that my buddy has going and helping him out.
Yeah.
So that's, for me personally, that's a middle road. Some people talk about 100 calls. I'm trying to do something realistic that I think will have the outcome that I'm looking for. For whatever it's worth. Yeah.
Well, I don't know if you've ever heard that, like, negative media is still, or negative publicity is still good publicity because it's publicity, right?
Yeah, fair enough.
People, haters are going to hate, people are going to talk about you, and you're doing something right. But I've been trying a few unconventional approaches. I've tried something where Craigslist put out a few just really spammy bad approach. Not what I want to do, but it was just trying to find, what happens and how does this work? Why do I see it for other agencies and stuff like that? And how do they get away with it? Do they really get leads from it?
Yeah, that's funny. Yeah.
I got a quick email response from somebody just saying, look, dummy, you got one place to post that, and if you don't have a face-to-face business, then this isn't the market for you. I'm just thinking like, all right, I get it. And they say that because I'm a virtual agent. I'm wherever anybody is, you don't need to sit down in the office, but Craigslist is not for that.
That's it. No, but you're trying, man. You're poking the box. You're working on different approaches and see where you get traction. And then I would just use a PO box and then just meet up at a Starbucks. Like you can use a PO box and you can write that out where the suite number is basically the PO box number. It'll look the same. And
gotcha.
Yeah, so that's what actually I currently have in Newport Beach, because I was working at a friend's office in Irvine, but it's called Newport Beach Insurance Center. And people were kind of picking on the fact that my office wasn't the same city as the name. So I just if you look it up, it's off Tustin Avenue, C1070, but I don't write like, mailbox, it's just the suite number. So yeah, it's fine. And my buddy Blake, we work out of like a simple little office in Costa Mesa, and it's nice, but nobody ever comes by. Literally, I've never had a prospect come through. There's a little deli that's on the business campus. He'll get like salads to go, and he'll take them to the customer for like lunch meetings, but especially in commercial. So, but yeah, check it out. You could use like a suite number for a mailbox place and it'll look like an office.
With that office that's nearby, have you considered using a gift card type of incentive to get people to come in to do a quote?
Gift cards, not necessarily. If I'm gonna spend money on anything like that, it'd be to buy people apps or stuff at like the broker brews. If I personally was just budgeting those kind of funds, it'd be more to take care of people, buy a lunch for somebody who I think could be helpful,
Yeah.
Not just kind of blanket giveaways, but yeah, so Squarespace is good. I use that. Vistaprint, using the mailbox idea is helpful. You can create a business page pretty easily on LinkedIn as well. So you could do that. Like I have one for cyber insurance. I have one for my brokerage. You can do multiple pages actually.
Awesome.
Yeah, and then it just lets you toggle through them. And I think that's a really cool way to do it. And then you can mention that page in your posts, and you bring it back like a landing page. I think Facebook, I just haven't been on there as much since like the presidential election, candidly, but I know there's still life there, I don't do it too often, but every so often I'll hit up my like Instagram, and do like a quick video or something about insurance, kind of spam my buddies, and then something will trickle up. Somebody will be buying a house. So I heard for like all-stars or for athletes and stuff, like 1 out of 10 posts will be like a bit like a pitch. So I kind of keep that in mind with my own personal stuff. Like if I'm doing it more than 1 out of 10, then I'm trying to sell my friends too much, but I could probably get away with that as like a front of mind. Hey, this is what I'm working on. And more informative than direct sale. And then on the flip, for personal and for like LinkedIn and for commercial stuff, 9 times out of 10 it's business, but occasionally just sprinkle in a little bit of your personal interest in who you are, so that way you're not just a sterile suit, but they see you as a human. So I mean, those have been some things that I've found kind of helpful.
Good point there. I hadn't realized really the power of those platforms, because I started getting a lot of LinkedIn connection requests from random people, not just recruiters, saying, hey, come join our MLM, and it's like, no thanks. But we are seeing our generation, we're stepping into the ranks as the next leaders, CEOs and all this, entrepreneurs starting their own companies and stuff. And the industry's reacting. So I know you guys over with Insurance Nerds are doing a lot of great things to keep ahead of the game, both on the tech side and implementing that, but like what's going on behind the scenes and how the industry is moving towards a different model. The personal branding is important. I think at the end of the day, we all take off all the hats that we wear and we get back to being who we are.
Well, it's interesting because it's all a balance. It's being professional enough, it's being yourself enough, it's delivering the actual policies, it's using the tech. No one's going to be perfect. You're not going to have all the skills. Like I know in terms of crossing T's, dotting the I's in the back end organization, I could be a little bit stronger. But trying to wear those hats, have your strengths, and as you get momentum, you can bring people around you that compliment you. And I don't want to steal your Saturday too long, man. But always feel free to reach out if you have any questions about marketing or like building up the agency. You know where to find us, and there's a lot of good stuff on Insurance Nerds too. So we'll catch you soon. Thanks for tuning in, guys, and thanks for hopping on.
Absolutely.
Cool. Yeah.
Good evening. This is our first record. Most people don't.